Hello and welcome to the Wild Protea. My name is Clinton Jarman. Apologies for the entry. I've always wanted to do that like a supervillain. So that's ticked off the bucket list there. So to everyone who's joining me live, this will be up on the Fair Digest YouTube page, YouTube channel after this. So like, subscribe, also get your comments in, guys. I want to hear from you. What do you think of what I'm trying to do here with the Wild Protea? Essentially, it would be SA's first sports fan channel. So what I try to do is I try to look at what's happening on Twitter, Facebook, or wherever anyone is talking about South African sports, and I'm trying to bring it all into one place where we can all discuss things that are going on, and quite a lot going on recently. Obviously, everyone's heard about the Black Lives Matter movement that's happening within cricket at the moment. Obviously, the three-team cricket on the go at the moment. I think the Kingfishers, no, not the Kingfishers, the Eagles, the AB's Eagles won that. They scored 160 runs. But anyway, and also some rugby news as well. But let's get straight into the 3TC, as they've called it, or the Solidarity Cup. So this was a COVID-designed game so that players can social distance. Also, it's a game where they want guys to be more included, so you're not just bowling overs and going down to final leg and that sort of thing. That's what they've said. Just a few things. Reza came in for KG, who had a personal issue, and Temba Bavuma took over the reins as captain for Quinny de Kock, who had an unforeseen personal circumstance. I'm not too sure about that. First thoughts on the actual game itself. It's a bit gimmicky. It's a bit, it's a bit like watching a club five-a-side game. You know, it's not really that entertaining, if I'm honest. You know, the only real entertaining thing was AB and Markram's innings. They got things going quite nicely. But other than that, I think they could have done a bit more with it. I think they should have included some of the Protea women to make it really, really inclusive. That would have been nice to see some of the girls out there. Would have been great, but I think they missed the boat on that one. But I mean, all in all, I just don't think that this is gonna. I think it's just a one-off type thing that is just a bit of an experiment, really. There's some decent performances. The youngsters putting up their hands. Gerald Kutsia, Clinton Sturman, Tando Ntini played very, very well. So the youngsters looking good there. Players overall looked a bit rusty, except for obviously Aiden Markram and A.B. de Villiers. Duan Pretoria struck it quite nicely, also bowled quite nicely. Lungingiri looked very lean and mean with ball in hand, bowling a couple of quick bumpers there at the end. But yeah, all in all, I think it was good to get the guys out there again. I think that was more of the aim. Also around the COVID situation, having to have social distancing, commentators with masks on, and that sort of thing. So bit of a gimmick, but I enjoyed it to a degree. But I'd rather them stay away from this type of thing. I would have rather seen with the T20 World Cup coming around, I think next year it'll be played. I don't think it'll be played this year, so I would have liked to have seen maybe 2 T20 games played with that squad, that high performance squad that was put together. Maybe that would have been a better situation. But I don't know. I don't really know what they had to work around with regards to the COVID-19 situation. So it is what it is. And yeah, it's finished now, and hopefully we'll never see it again. I'm not a fan, to be honest. So on to more, I'd say, more important matters, and that's the current Black Lives Matter movement within South African cricket. Now, a lot of cricketers have come out in their numbers. You know, since Lungi Ngidi came out in support of Black Lives Matter. He had obviously those 31 players and ex-players and coaches joining him in the movement. Now, recently, there's been a lot of ex-white players and white players joining the movement as well. We saw the director of cricket coming out and saying that he's in support of Black Lives Matter on his Twitter page. And that's all good and well, but, with what Makai and Tini said the other day, I just wonder where he was during those times. I've a lot of respect for Graham Smith as a captain and as a cricketer, but his leadership has been questioned in the last week, especially with the Makai and Tini incident. But we'll wait and see now. Actions speak louder than words, and hopefully, moving forward, he can show us that he's committed to change and transformation and getting cricket to where it needs to be in South Africa. Reiterating on that Makai and Tini situation, he did an interview and he said he felt very lonely in the team. Players didn't invite him out for dinner. They'd make plans sort of around him and not include him. And, not Graham Smith, Makai deserves a lot of credit for his career because, the man took over 400 wickets for South Africa. He was an absolute stalwart from the time he started till the time he ended. He didn't get a big enough send-off, in my opinion. He had that little Ingaba celebration where everyone got a round of drinks, but it was nothing like, Sean Pollock sort of got to play a game in every sort of big city, big stadium. It was just a breath of fresh air to hear Makai speak so honestly about what's going on and what went on during his career. So I just think he deserves a lot of credit for that. And big ups to Makai for speaking out, and big ups to everyone for speaking out. Alvera Peterson has been very, very vocal in his support of Black Lives Matter. Giving us situations that happened in his career, and hopefully things moving forward. There's going to be some uncomfortable discussions. There's going to be people that disagree, and we don't need those people near our cricket, to be honest. The likes of Pat Simcox and Boeta Dipana, who have done U-turns recently, but the first impressions are lasting impressions, and to come out and slate Lungi and tell him to concentrate on matters on the field, I think was in very poor taste of them. Faf du Plessis also came out and said something. Faf said, let me just get it here. All lives don't matter until Black Lives Matter. And I think that's important to realize. Faf also said that he stayed silent because he was intent on listening. And I think that's an important message that Faf is trying to get out, is that we don't need everyone to speak out. We don't need every Tom, Dick and Harry to come out and say, I support Black Lives Matter, because some of those people are going to be putting up their fists because they have to. They're not really going to mean it. And I think that's an important message from Faf, to really listen to what guys are saying and really take on board the messages that they're trying to get to us, by telling their stories, by being honest, by being open. It puts them in a difficult spot, especially with their jobs and stuff like that. Hopefully no one loses their jobs because of what they're saying, because that's obviously wrong, because they're speaking about racism within cricket South Africa. So I think listening without replying is important, but I do think that important figures like Faf, like Graham, like a few guys from the past who haven't said anything yet, need to come out and show some support for the youngster, Lungi Ngidi, 24 years old, taking up the mantle of Black Lives Matter in South Africa, and now everyone's joining in. It's just good to see from that point of view. And then last but not least, Hashim Amla had also, the mighty Hash, as I like to call him, or everyone likes to call him, weighed in on the matter as well. He said, being of the Muslim faith, they taught that the Prophet is of a darker skin color anyway, so no one should be judged on their skin color. So that was nice to hear from Hash. He also said, many of us have bore the brunt of these delusions and have crazy stories to tell. Now, obviously I would love for Ash to come out and tell some of these stories. And I think in the near future, we're going to get more and more players coming forward. We've seen, obviously, like I said before, Alvira Peterson, Ashwell Prince. Even today, I saw a story of a racist incident alleged against Robbie Freiling, the Dolphins seamer, or all-rounder, if you can call him that. So, these stories are going to come out more and more now, and hopefully we can listen, we can learn, and we can get educated on just how racism has affected these players in South Africa. The last thing that Hash said was, there are oppressed people of all races, of all walks of life, but the darker skinned people have always been worse off. And, Hash, when he speaks, he doesn't speak very often, but when he does speak, people listen. And I think that's part and parcel of why he was considered as captain for South Africa, because he's a leader without saying much, and, when he speaks, people listen, though, and that's important. Obviously, us at the Fair Digest, we're fully in support of Black Lives Matter, and we do are helping to educate people. If you want to educate yourself on race and racism and systemic racism and anything that you want to learn about it, please do yourself a favor. Go onto the thefairdigest.com, subscribe and educate yourself, because at the end of the day, the only way that we can overcome racism is through education. And I firmly believe that, and that's why I do what I do. That's why I work for the Fair Digest, and it's a message that we feel very strongly about. Right, enough of the serious stuff. On to some more serious stuff. Not really, but some rugby news coming through. Mark Robinson, the New Zealand Rugby CEO, has come out with a statement saying that New Zealand Rugby will be going in a different direction as of 2021. This coming after we won the World Cup in 2019 is no surprise. No, I'm joking, guys. This is all because of COVID-19. So COVID-19 has obviously made it very difficult for guys to travel. And, Mark Robinson did say he's hopeful that, that they can still have a sort of best of the best tournament in the future, maybe like their best franchise, Australia's best franchise, Argentina's best franchise, and our best franchise meet up in a winner-take-all sort of World Cup of franchises. I have no idea how that's going to work, but they're still working through the process. SA Rugby will have a response in a few days. That's what was said. Mark Robertson did say he wants to remain close and is committed to playing against one another if the opportunity arises, both internationally and within the franchises as well. So this puts into doubt, obviously, the Rugby Championship, which we are currently champions. So they'll have no one to compete against again. Yeah, but it's a tough situation for rugby at the moment within South Africa. Will we move to the Pro 14? What are the pros and cons of moving to the Pro 14, which will obviously expand and be not the Pro 14 anymore, will be more of a 18 or 19 or whatever they want to call it. And like I said before, what happens to the Rugby Championship? Is that just going to fall away now? Obviously this year, I don't think it's going to happen, but perhaps next season we can work it in some way, somehow, after the COVID thing has maybe died down, hopefully, holding thumbs, holding fingers, because, we all want to see the rugby, our world champions, we want to see the world champions back on the field, man. It's been a long time. It's been way too long. So going forward, the whole Pro 14 situation is going to be interesting because there's quite a bit of money around the Pro 14 and the English game at the moment. There's a lot of corporates involved there. Mark Robinson did speak about that as well. They're also going to get corporates involved in their franchise system. I don't know how it's going to work. To be honest, I don't care because we're not there. So it doesn't count. Yeah, so it's going to work out. I think it's going to work out a bit better for our players, and the longevity for our players. World Rugby has said that they want to create a timetable for rugby where everyone's sort of playing at the same time, so to avoid players getting injured more often, and also the fatigue factor, long flights. I think that's going to be a good one as well with moving to the Pro 14. No more long flights, 4-5 week tours. That's all going to come to an end now. So it's just basically, you fly to England, you play your games, and then you come home, and then they come here, and vice versa. Basically the way it's worked for the Cheetahs and the Kings the last couple of years. Hopefully the Stormers, the Lions, the Bulls, and the Sharks will do a lot better than the Stormers, than the Cheetahs and the Kings, because they haven't really done well. Although the Cheetahs won the Currie Cup last season, but that's obviously more local. So let me know what you guys think of everything that I've just said. Like I said, guys, get your comments in below. I'll answer them all right now if you comment now, and also afterwards. What do you think of the move to the Pro 14? Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? What do you think of New Zealand moving away from South African rugby? Are they scared of us? Maybe. What do you think of the Black Lives Matter movement happening within cricket? What's your opinion? How do we create a safe space for these players to come out and talk? They've had discussions recently, but I think there's a lot more guys that are still waiting in the wings to come forward. So what do you think of that situation? And then also, what do you think of the 3-team cricket thing that just happened now? It wasn't really a match, to be honest. It felt very stop-startish and whatever, but for me, I'm not a fan, but hopefully we can get something better going forward for the guys. So get your comments in, guys, and also, guys, don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new. Hit that notification button so you can get all the latest from the Wild Protea. Thank you, Stuart Botha, for your comment. Education is definitely key. I had a little assistant helping me there. Education is definitely key, guys. I can't stress this enough. Me as a white person, I need to be educated. If anyone has anything to say to me and wants to help me to understand them better, I mean, people of color now, I encourage it. I welcome it, and I am always keen to learn. So, we have to educate people, and that's just how it is. So anyway, guys, like I was saying, thanks for joining me, and it's been a good session for me personally. And I'll see you again next week. Cheers for now.